Your ancestors couldn't outrun a rabbit, they still won. They still won no claws. No fangs, no fur thick enough to survive a winter night exposed. Compare your body to a lion's and you lose on every count that matters in a fight. But strip away the fight and the story changes. Because your ancestors weren't built to win a sprint. They were built to never stop. In 2004, biologists Dennis Bramble and Daniel Lieberman published a study in the journal Nature that reframed the human body as a running machine. Long legs, springy tendons in the foot and ankle that store and release energy like a coiled spring. A neutral ligament at the back of the neck, found in humans and running animals but almost nowhere else, that keeps your head stable while your body pounds forward. And sweat glands, millions of them, dumping heat through wet skin instead of panting through fur. A cheetah overheats in minutes. A human, jogging steadily, does not. That gap is the whole story. What does an animal do when it cannot catch its prey by speed, but can outlast it by hours? It hunts on foot in the heat of the day and simply refuses to quit. Anthropologist Louise Liebenberg spent years documenting this among sand trackers in the Kalahari Desert, watching men run down kudu and eland under the midday sun. The antelope sprints ahead, vanishes over a ridge, and rests. The tracker reads hoofprints pressed into sand, a broken grass stem, one dislodged pebble, and keeps moving at a pace that never lets the animal fully recover. Hour after hour, the antelope's core temperature climbs. Your body cools itself with sweat. An antelope cools itself by panting, and panting stops the moment it starts running again. Eventually, the animal collapses, legs failing, mind fogged by heat stroke, and a person carrying nothing but a spear and patience finishes it by hand. Picture that hunt on the East African savanna 1,000,000 years before agriculture, before language as you'd recognize it, before anyone had drawn a single image on a cave wall. A small band moving in loose formation. No weapon capable of a killing blow at a distance. Just tracking, endurance, and the willingness to keep walking after every sane predator would have turned back. Here's what most people miss. The body alone doesn't explain the takeover. Cheetahs have long legs, too. Wolves have stamina. What changed everything was pairing endurance with a mind built to plan a hunt that wouldn't finish for hours, sometimes a full day, and a group willing to trust that plan. At Schoningen, in what's now Germany, archaeologists uncovered wooden spears close to 300,000 years old, buried in an ancient lakebed. They're balanced like modern javelins, weighted for a hard, accurate throw, not just a stabbing jab. That single detail rewrote what researchers assumed about the mines holding them. Someone shaped that wood over hours, thinking about a throw that hadn't happened yet, for an animal that wasn't yet in sight. That's not instinct, that's forecasting. And forecasting doesn't stay in one head. At Blombos Cave on the South African coast, archaeologists led by Christopher Henshelwood found engraved ochre and shaped bone tools carrying a level of intention that points to symbolic thought, marks made to mean something to another person looking at them later. A species that can leave a message for someone else, days or years away, is a species that can also coordinate a hunt across a whole landscape. Signal where the herd moved. Agree on a plan before anyone has seen the prey. Trust a stranger's tracks in the sand. That's the twist most people skip past. The terror your ancestors became had almost nothing to do with muscle. A single human alone loses to almost anything with claws. It was slow-burning endurance, stitched together with memory, planning, and trust across a group, that turned a slow, soft-skinned ape into the animal every other predator on the continent eventually learned to avoid. Lions in parts of Africa still show measurable wariness at the sound of a human voice, more than they show toward the roar of another lion. That fear is inherited. It was earned over hundreds of thousands of years of exactly this kind of hunt. You still carry every piece of that machinery. The same sweat glands. Same springy arch in your foot. The same neck ligament holding your gaze level while your legs work. You're not separated from that hunter by much biology at all, just time and a change of context. The chase migrated, it didn't disappear. Now it looks like a deadline pursued for weeks, a goal tracked in small daily signs, a habit kept up long after the initial motivation has cooled. The instinct that once meant tracking a wounded eland for 6 hours under a merciless sun is the same instinct that lets you keep going on a task everyone else abandoned by hour 2. Evolution didn't make you fast. It made you very, very hard to shake off. That was still true the day the fastest animal on the savannah finally slowed down, legs shaking, and looked up to see something on 2 legs still walking toward it, unhurried, closer than it had been an hour before. Your ancestors still couldn't outrun a rabbit. They just never had to.